What if the most famous monument on Earth was never meant to be admired, but activated? What if the Sphinx is not a statue at all, but a silent instruction, etched in stone, waiting for the right consciousness to decode it? For thousands of years, it has watched the horizon without blinking. Half beast, half human, carved not merely from limestone, but from a forgotten worldview in which geometry was sacred, the cosmos was alive, and the soul was not trapped in the body, but ascending through it. The Sphinx does not ask questions. It poses one, and the question is not about history. It is about you. Most are taught to see the Sphinx as a riddle of archaeology. How old is it? Who built it? Why is its nose missing? These questions, while interesting, orbit the surface. The ancients did not encode wisdom in trivia. They encoded it in form, in proportion, in orientation, in the silent language of cosmic geometry. Because to those who understood the universe as a living intelligence, geometry was not mathematics, it was initiation. The Sphinx stands at the threshold between worlds. Behind it, the pyramids rise like frozen frequencies. Before it, the sun climbs the sky in a ritual older than memory. This is no coincidence. Nothing about the Sphinx is accidental. Its body, its gaze, its placement, all form a map. Not to treasure, but to transformation. In this journey, we will explore the Sphinx not as an artifact of the past, but as a living symbol of the soul's ascent. We will uncover how its form mirrors the inner architecture of human consciousness, how its geometry aligns with cosmic cycles, and why its true purpose was never meant for the masses, but for those prepared to see. You will discover why ancient civilizations encoded spiritual knowledge into stone instead of scripture, why this wisdom was hidden in plain sight, and how the same principles embedded in the Sphinx still apply to your inner evolution today, right now, without traveling to deserts or temples. Because the Sphinx is not guarding Egypt, it is guarding a threshold, and the question it asks is simple, unsettling, and eternal. Have you learned to align the beast within with the intelligence above? Long before history was flattened into dates and dynasties, civilizations understood something modern culture has largely forgotten. The universe speaks in patterns. And those who listened did not write their wisdom in books. They carved it into the earth itself. The Sphinx emerged from this worldview. To ancient initiates, monuments were not commemorations. They were interfaces. Stone was chosen not for durability alone, but for its ability to hold meaning across epochs. The Sphinx, positioned on the Giza Plateau beside the Great Pyramid of Giza, was never meant to be interpreted in isolation. It is part of a deliberate, symbolic landscape, a three-dimensional manuscript written in geometry, astronomy, and myth. In ancient Egypt, knowledge was tiered. There was what the public was told, and then there was what was shown, only to those who had undergone inner preparation. This is why Egyptian wisdom appears contradictory to modern eyes. Gods with animal heads, stories that seem mythological, structures that defy conventional timelines. These were not confusions, they were filters. The Sphinx itself embodies one of the most ancient philosophical principles, the union of instinct and intellect. The lion's body represents raw terrestrial force, desire, survival, power, the untamed drives of nature. The human head symbolizes awakened consciousness, the capacity for reflection, self-mastery, and alignment with higher order. Together, they form a single statement. Spiritual ascent begins only when the animal nature is mastered, not destroyed. This idea was not exclusive to Egypt. Variations of this symbolism appear across ancient cultures. In Mesopotamia, in India, in Mesoamerica. But Egypt encoded it with unmatched precision, especially in stone. Greek philosophers who later studied Egyptian temples openly admitted this debt. Plato himself spoke of Egyptian wisdom as unimaginably ancient, preserved through cycles of global destruction that erased lesser civilizations. He hinted that Greece was young, spiritually immature by comparison. What Egypt preserved was not merely history but cosmic memory. This memory was tied to the stars. The Sphinx faces due east, locking its gaze on the horizon where the sun rises, day after day, equinox after equinox. In ancient thought, the rising sun symbolized consciousness awakening from darkness. But there is a deeper layer. Scholars of esoteric astronomy point out that the Sphinx's orientation aligns with celestial cycles spanning tens of thousands of years, suggesting knowledge of precessional movements long before modern science acknowledged them. Such knowledge threatened later power structures. As religion's centralized authority, inner transformation became less desirable than obedience. Mysteries were stripped of their initiatory function and turned into doctrine. Geometry became mathematics. Myth became superstition. And monuments like the Sphinx were reclassified as primitive art, safe, silent, defanged. Yet fragments survived. In texts attributed to the Hermetica, we find echoes of the same teaching. As above, so below. The human soul mirrors the cosmos. Ascension is not escape, it is alignment. This is why the Sphinx endured while temples were looted and libraries burned. It could not be censored. It does not speak in words. It speaks in proportion, orientation, and silence. And silence, to the ancients, was the highest form of teaching. To understand the Sphinx is to understand that geometry was once a sacred language, not merely a tool for architects or mathematicians. Every line, curve, and proportion was chosen with intention, as if the stone itself were a manuscript of spiritual truth. And when we study it through this lens, the Sphinx begins to speak, not in words, but in form. Consider the head, carved delicately atop the lion's body. It is not only human, it is divinely proportioned. The dimensions mirror the golden ratio, the same pattern that recurs in galaxies, hurricanes, seashells, and the human body. This ratio is more than aesthetic, it is a key. Ancient builders understood that certain proportions resonate with the human nervous system, subtly aligning mind and body with the harmonic order of the cosmos. In other words, the Sphinx is tuned to awaken awareness, much like a musical instrument tuned to a sacred frequency. The lion's body is equally purposeful. In Egyptian symbolism, the lion represents courage, vitality, and raw terrestrial power. But when paired with the contemplative human head, it illustrates a paradox. True wisdom does not deny the animal instincts, it transcends them. It is mastery, not suppression. The Sphinx, in its frozen stillness, is a metaphor for this union, the soul rising from instinct into conscious awareness. Even its placement on the plateau carries hidden significance. The Sphinx sits in alignment with the rising sun at the spring and autumn equinoxes. In those moments, sunlight bathes the monument in illumination, marking a celestial doorway. The ancients called this the path of illumination, a visual reminder that human awakening is a process synchronized with cosmic cycles. The stone itself becomes a calendar, a mirror of the heavens, and a teacher of timing, the art of knowing when to act, when to reflect, when to ascend. But the Sphinx is not a simple diagram. Its design encodes a sequence of initiatory stages, like an inner ladder for the soul. Scholars of esoteric traditions have noted that the ratio between the head, body, and paws may correspond to stages of spiritual development: awakening, purification, integration, and ascension. Step too fast, and the message is lost. Move too slow, and you miss the alignment with cosmic rhythm. The Sphinx teaches patience, observation, and attunement. And then there is the gaze. Its eyes, though eroded by time, still carry the essence of intent. Some researchers argue that the Sphinx's proportions correspond to angles used in ancient astronomy, hinting at a connection between soul perception and stellar alignment. The ancients believed that consciousness could ascend along paths of geometric resonance, essentially a ladder of awareness that mirrors the sky. Each step up corresponds to a shift in perception, a refinement of the soul. In essence, the Sphinx is a living lesson in integration, animal and divine, earth and sky, matter and consciousness. It is a guide, silently asking those who stand before it, do you see yourself as part of a larger order, or merely as a collection of impulses? Beneath the obvious grandeur of the Sphinx lies a layer of hidden intelligence, one that has eluded historians and casual observers for centuries. Its surface, weathered by millennia, conceals more than erosion. It conceals a cosmic map, a symbolic language written in proportions, alignments, and paradoxes. To understand it, we must step beyond the literal and into the metaphoric, where stone becomes scripture and geometry becomes initiation. One of the most intriguing aspects is the Sphinx's alignment with the heavens. While most notice it faces east, few realize that it aligns precisely with the constellation Leo during the age of its probable construction. The lion of the sky and the lion of stone are intertwined, a mirror between human experience and cosmic rhythm. Ancient cultures believed that such alignments were not decorative. They were portals of energy, gateways through which consciousness could synchronize with the cosmic order. In other words, the Sphinx is more than observation. It is participation. Standing before it at the correct moment, one becomes a witness to the dance of the universe. Then there are the proportions. Every measurement, from the width of its paws to the slope of its back, follows sacred geometrical ratios, some of which correspond to the harmonic principles of sound and light. Scholars and esoteric researchers propose that these ratios were intentionally chosen to resonate with human energy fields. The Sphinx, in this sense, functions as a conduit for awakening, subtly attuning the observer to frequencies that expand awareness. It is a meditation in stone, a silent orchestra of cosmic resonance. But paradox emerges when we examine its erosion patterns and anomalies. Some geologists claim that certain water erosion suggests an age far older than the accepted timeline. Could this imply that the Sphinx predates known civilizations, built by a culture with a deeper grasp of cosmic law? If so, it suggests that the wisdom encoded in its form is timeless, a message intended not for any single generation, but for the soul that seeks alignment across ages. The Sphinx also carries mythic symbolism that defies literal interpretation. Stories of guardianship, riddles, and lost knowledge are not mere folklore. They are instructional metaphors. The lion's body teaches control over primal drives. The human head teaches discernment. Its missing nose, often lamented, may be intentional, symbolizing the necessity of perception beyond the obvious. True sight, the ancients implied, is never about surface details. It is about understanding the underlying order, the invisible threads connecting self, cosmos, and destiny. Beyond these cosmic and symbolic layers, there exists a more subtle, personal aspect. Initiates report that meditating upon the Sphinx, or its geometry, can trigger profound internal realizations, clarity in thought, balance in emotion, and a sense of resonance with the universe. This is not superstition. It is alignment. The Sphinx embodies a principle the ancients practiced. The exterior mirrors the interior, and the mastery of oneself is inseparable from the mastery of universal rhythm. In short, the Sphinx is not a relic. It is an instruction manual for the soul, a multidimensional map pointing toward consciousness, integration, and ascension. Its lessons are subtle, demanding patience, observation, and openness. And these lessons are not confined to Egypt. They can be applied here and now, in daily life, if one learns to see through the illusion of separation. The Sphinx does not hand out wisdom in words. It hands it out in form, proportion, and alignment. And the most powerful realization is this: you do not need to travel to Giza to engage with its lessons. Its geometry, its principles, and its guidance exist as a mirror for your own consciousness. By learning to apply them internally, you can awaken the same pathways of awareness that the ancients encoded in stone. Begin with alignment. Just as the Sphinx faces the sunrise at equinox, start your day observing cycles, sunrise, sunset, breath, and heartbeat. Track these rhythms for a week. Notice how your thoughts and emotions rise and fall like tides. The Sphinx teaches that consciousness is most potent when synchronized with natural cycles. This is not superstition. It is biology and geometry converging. Integrate instinct and intellect. Visualize the lion and human as within yourself. The lion embodies raw energy, desires, impulses, passions. The human embodies reason, discernment, reflection, awareness. For 10 minutes each day, consciously observe impulses without judgment. Then, consciously channel them into deliberate action. This is the Sphinx's first lesson. Mastery does not mean suppression, it means integration. Practice sacred proportion. The Sphinx's body embodies ratios that harmonize mind and body with the cosmos. You can replicate this principle in daily life through movement, art, or breath work. For example, in breathing exercises, inhale for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 4. This is called the square breath, echoing the Sphinx's geometric balance. Over time, it calms the nervous system and aligns your internal rhythm with universal resonance. Engage in contemplative observation. Just as the Sphinx silently observes the horizon, practice mindful observation of your surroundings. Sit in stillness and allow the world to pass without interference. Observe patterns, cycles, and repetitions in nature, human behavior, or thought. The Sphinx is a teacher of perception beyond surface appearances, revealing that the visible is only a shadow of deeper order. Decode symbolic triggers. Throughout your day, notice recurring numbers, patterns, or symbols, especially those that resonate emotionally. They are personal echoes of the same cosmic principles the Sphinx encodes. Write them down. Reflect on their possible meanings. This cultivates a sensitivity to synchronicity and encourages the soul to recognize subtle guidance. Confront paradox and patience. The Sphinx is a monument of patience, endurance, and paradox. Nothing about it is rushed. Similarly, your spiritual growth requires patience and a willingness to dwell in uncertainty. Reflect on challenges not as obstacles, but as stages in alignment, each difficulty refining, testing, and elevating consciousness. By practicing these steps, you begin to awaken what the ancients called the inner Sphinx, a being within you capable of observing, balancing, and integrating primal force with conscious awareness. You do not need temples, hieroglyphs, or secret initiations. The geometry, the cycles, and the lessons exist inside your own perception, waiting to be recognized. The Sphinx is not a relic of the past. It is a living principle, a guide to becoming whole, aligned, and attuned to the rhythm of existence itself. The Sphinx stands not merely as a monument of stone, but as a threshold between worlds, between the seen and unseen, the temporal and eternal, the instinctual and the conscious. It challenges those who approach it to ask, are you ready to align with the intelligence that underlies all existence? Throughout history, countless eyes have gazed upon its form, yet few have truly seen it. Its lesson is subtle. Wisdom is not obtained through observation alone, but through participation, reflection, and alignment. The Sphinx embodies a timeless principle. The ascent of the soul requires the mastery of both inner instinct and reason, a harmony between the raw force of life and the guiding light of awareness. The cosmic geometry it encodes is more than architecture. It is a mirror of consciousness. Each ratio, alignment, and proportion offers a pathway for inner transformation. By observing natural cycles, integrating instinct with intellect, and cultivating awareness of subtle patterns, we engage in a living dialogue with the universe. We awaken the inner Sphinx, the part of ourselves capable of standing in balance, seeing beyond illusion, and navigating the hidden architecture of reality. And yet, the Sphinx leaves one final, eternal question unanswered, a question you carry with you. Will you remain a spectator of life, or will you awaken to its hidden order and rise with it? The path is not easy. It demands patience, introspection, and courage. But it also offers profound clarity, alignment, and the quiet satisfaction of stepping into a rhythm far older than time itself. The Sphinx does not merely teach, it invites you to remember. To remember that consciousness is not bound to the physical, that geometry can guide the soul, that the mysteries of the ancients are not lost, only hidden in plain sight. So, as you go about your day, let the Sphinx be a silent companion. Let it remind you that every choice, every breath, every observation is a step along the path of awakening. That within you lies a threshold just as profound as the one it guards. And perhaps, when you are ready, you will find yourself looking at the world, and yourself, with the same quiet, unwavering gaze as the Sphinx. If this journey into ancient wisdom stirred something within you, Share your thoughts, explore further, and let your inner Sphinx guide your path forward.